an ultimate global podcast. Hello, and welcome to our special weekly podcast on trending international and social affairs. You're listening to Saurabh Kora and George Mavros from Sydney.
Welcome again to another exciting episode that we are covering with the CEOs, founders, and co-founders. I know this is our special series of episodes and most popular ones for sure, because recently when I met few people in our 2-year anniversary in Sydney, two of the series which really came up in discussion quite often was the series that we have done with politicians, including Victor Dominillo, and the other one was with the CEOs, founders, and co-founders, which has now been renamed to CXOs, founders and co-founders, because we want to look at and interview not only the CEO but also the executive board if they have got a larger company. But today we are being joined by Samuel Roach, the CEO and co-founder of Brand Ninja. Brand Ninja is, he's going to describe it in his own words, but what I can understand is he's trying to automate some content marketing process. From the time you get you kind of get a lead, and kind of making sure that you can use the analytics to make better marketing decisions, and possibly reduce some of the human tasks out of the way, and making humans more efficient in the entire marketing process. So we're going to discuss more about that. But to start off with, Samuel, welcome to today's episode. Do you want to give a brief intro of what you are doing at the moment, and we can take it from there?
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time. So Brand Ninja, we kind of came across a pretty insane gap in the market, which was that we spend $300 billion a year globally on the billable hour in digital marketing, and less than 8% of brands report as being very satisfied with their investment. And our view is that so much of digital marketing is granular, repetitive execution that's highly data-driven. So we thought, well, by leveraging AI, which is really good at granular, repetitive, data-driven execution, we can hopefully put some of that money back to work for businesses around the world. And that's exactly what we've done. We've stood up a closed beta. We've got a few awesome businesses currently on platform now, and we'll be launching it to the world very shortly.
Congratulations on that. I think that's a big achievement, Samuel.
Oh, thanks, mate.
One of the things that I'm always intrigued about in this AI space, people keep on talking about you've got this AI marketing tool or AI customer service tool, but a lot of them, they don't understand how they need to pitch those things to different kind of customer personas. For example, you are seeing two different customer personas on this episode. I'm a millennial or Gen Z, somewhere there. You've got a baby boomer. And every generation has got a different way of understanding AI. They don't understand AI in the same way. So how do you make sure that you can pitch it to different kind of customer segments in the right way? Because I'm sure this might be a challenge for you.
Yeah, I think it really cuts to the core of what our product is, which is really about trying to abstract away the complexity and just deliver the result. So in our view, it doesn't really matter what customer segment you are. Most businesses have a non-discretionary expense of digital marketing, and most businesses will report that they think that their results could be more transparent, they could be more positive. So there's room for growth across the board. So our view really, and our whole sales process into enterprise really has been, what are you currently spending, and do you think that you're getting the ROI that you should be? And most of the time they'll say no. And it's really kind of abstracting things right away and just cutting right down to what the need is, which is that we want to put our digital marketing dollars back to harder work. And that's a pretty universal thing in our experience.
Yep. So are there any kind of challenges that you're facing at the moment while building up your team, or is that already a team of 10 to 20 people?
Yeah, we're rapidly scaling up the team as we speak. We're at about 6 now. It's the hardest roles to really recruit for has been in the performance marketing space. And it's really kind of proven out the problem that we think we're solving. There's so many people that market themselves as performance marketers operate on intuition. A lot of them achieve great results, but there's, in our experience through the recruitment process, there's been really few that can speak to to the data of what they're doing, and kind of prove that every decision they make, every recommendation they make, every bid that they carry out is working backwards from real tangible insight into the customer and where they're spending time. So it has been challenging, but it's been good in validating our thesis that humans just aren't really fantastic. We're not really wired to sit down and look at Google AdWords, auctioning your audience, SEMrush, socials, all this unstructured data 24/7 every day, and making sure that you're always getting the best ad dollar and serving the most relevant content. So in that respect, it's been good.
Yep. I've got some more questions, but I'll pass it on to Mr. Mavros to dig a bit deeper.
Man. Go for it.
Another Mr. Mavros. George is full. Well, to your point, Saurabh, I don't think it matters whether I'm your generation, my generation, or any other generation. There's certain aspects of life and business I don't have to know what it's all about. I just have to know that the service provider, in this case Samuel, can actually do the job. You go to get brain surgery, I don't know what the brain surgeon does. You go and get heart surgery, I don't know what a heart surgeon does. I know that they operate my heart, but I don't actually know the process, nor do I care. All I want to know is when I come out, am I still going to be breathing? And am I still going to be able to talk? So I think in that same sense, I agree with Samuel that the two challenges that they've got is, why should I believe you because every other person I've given a bucket load of money to in digital marketing has failed or not provided a satisfactory result. And then his other problem is to get the right people in. So you've identified that that's a challenge to get the right people in, Samuel. How do you address that?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is that we're abstracting away to some extent the need for people in that specific role of performance marketing. So our pitch is very similar to really good agencies when we're talking to enterprises. Really good agencies can go, this is your segmentation. These are the long tail keyword opportunities for you in paid search. This is the content opportunities for you. They can all pitch. Where we're a little bit different is we've actually built the beginnings of an AI execution layer that can say to the business, not only do we have the strategy for you, but we have the platform where you can actually press go and start executing on it yourself internally, without necessarily a need to have an agency of 10 people on a retainer carrying the stuff out for you. Our view is that, especially when you're selling into enterprise, B2B is about making employees, staff feel like superheroes. And in enterprise procurement, people aren't going to sign off on an expense on a provider that's going to take away jobs from their friends. So we don't see ourselves as taking away jobs. We see ourselves as effectively resourcing performance marketers, content creators with their own team of executioners, agents that can go out and carry out the really granular, repetitive stuff that, as the data is showing us, we don't necessarily like, and we're definitely not necessarily good at.
So
definitely not necessarily. That's a bit of an oxymoron.
So using your AI and your actual process that this is going to generate, I've got a product that I want to take to market, and I've got an option of going a whole lot of different ways, and we've got George, who's from the baby boomer business, and he's saying, well, the way I do it is I'll go and talk to 20 people. If I need to, I'll speak to 50, but generally speaking, I can do it with 20. I get an idea of what people are looking for, what's going to motivate them to move. And now I'll go along to a search engine guy, a digital marketing guy, everything and anything, social media guy, even maybe TV advertising, and I'll put a campaign together, because that's how George has done it for many, many years. And the other guy I've got is David, And David says, no, I want to know from the data what people are actually buying. Now, at the moment, my belief is that you can't tell people what's being bought. You can tell people what they're clicking on. You can tell people what sites people are going to. But I don't believe, AI or not, that we've got data that will actually be able to tell a client what's actually being purchased. Is that correct, or have we gone another step further in our data mining?
Well, we've definitely gone a few steps further. So without necessarily the need for AI, you can look at stuff as simple as like the Facebook conversion API. You can look at your Google Ads Manager. You can look at Google Analytics 4, and you can actually set the definition of a conversion on your ads. And say, I do not want this to list as a conversion unless someone has actually completed a transaction.
I understand you can do that. I understand you can do that on your own site and your own campaign, but I don't believe that the web can deliver that information back to prior to you starting. So in other words, the question that came up, and I said to somebody, I'm glad you asked me that today, because I'm actually going to a podcast on this very area.
Yeah.
What he's looking for is for us to go and say to him, based on the data, you shouldn't do that product. You should do this product and this product.
Yeah. So I think the very high level response is that you can get a lot from competitor analysis. So you can see how much generally a competitor or maybe someone who's in your industry but not competitive in your territory, how much they're spending on certain ads. And if they're spending a few $1,000,000 every month on the same thing, it's converting. So there's areas where you can dive deeper and you can run pretty good predictive analytics on what people are buying. But it's also, the math is pretty clear that if there's X amount of traffic, if there's X amount of continued spend on a certain ad creative or area of content or page on a like business's site or competitor, then there's definitely ways of figuring out where the money's going.
With what you're doing, would that be delivering the opportunity? If I had to get somebody to sit down and go through 450 sites in 320 countries, blah, 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 blah. Actually, they couldn't do 320 countries because there's not that many in the world. But anyway, that's a side issue. Using AI, we'd be able to deliver a broader, deeper analysis at a lower cost, because you'd be able to just plug in a whole heap of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like the proof is in the pudding right now. Like the advent of large language models and the way that's been delivered to mass market through stuff like ChatGPT. You right now can download a CSV of every Facebook ad, Google ad that you've ever ran, and said, here's a massive CSV of data. There's 1,000 points. Copy and paste it into ChatGPT or link the Google Sheets through their data interpreter plugin and say, based on this, tell me which ads I should turn up, which ads I should turn off, and why. And it'll do it for you right now for free. So really a big part of the value that Brand Injury is unlocking is helping businesses instantly leverage that network effect. There's so many tools and there's so much data publicly available to us. What we're trying to build is an execution layer that can take all those tools that have an API that we can access and take all the data that we can access and effectively distill all of this information into actionable insights for business.
Very impressive.
Thanks very much.
So Sam, I was just checking your company page, which says that you just started in 2023. Is it in early 2023 when you started this organization?
Yeah, so we launched it into closed beta in March. So we've been going closed beta since March, and we'll be launching it to the public over the coming weeks. Yeah, we've got a brand new marketing site launching too. We've kind of been in stealth mode, just focusing on making a product that works and is sticky and has the retention. I mean, I guess that's kind of the battle in this space. It's who can acquire users, who can retain them, who can have them on platform actively getting value every day. I think the interesting shift for something like Brand Ninja is that, SaaS platforms have historically been measured on daily active users. But with the advent of autonomous AI agents that can actually carry out tasks for you without you having to be there, actively controlling them, like a tool such as Jasper, it's probably too much of an oversimplification or a mistake in saying that a platform like ours should have a whole bunch of daily active users. I think a more meaningful measurement would be how many pieces of content are our ninjas publishing each day, what results are they getting for business, that kind of stuff. So that'll be an interesting one to see enter the general methodology with which VCs analyze stuff.
So I'm always curious to understand the mindset of new CEOs and new founders, Samuel, because it's always different than how others think or perceive things. Are there any learnings in that process of you thinking about an idea and then launching it? Were there any learnings in that process which, if you were to go back and see that, oh, I could have done this in a different way?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality is that ideas are relatively cheap, and everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face, and that's definitely what this feels like, especially in AI, where it feels like a new wrap of GPT-4 is coming out every half an hour. I think it's really, if I did have my time again, don't let perfection get in the way of progress. Move fast. Speed of execution is the moat. And really, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. And that's what we're going through now in scaling out staff and ensuring operational efficiency. The machine that makes the machine is really where we're finding the secret sauce is.
Good stuff. Over to you, Mr. Mavros.
So you're in the early stages. What's been the three things that have taken you by surprise? You went into this thinking, I'm setting up this business, the partners and I are going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that, we'll need X amount of time, we'll need X amount of dollars, we'll need all these sort of things. What's been the three biggest surprises to you in that journey so far?
Three biggest surprises.
Which could be good or bad ones.
It's a good question. I think one surprise is just how made up stuff is. So, as a young person, you sort of look around and go, oh, there's these sort of cosmic rules around, how like this. It feels like Microsoft or Google they've always been here, right? I mean, like it's on the eighth day of creating the world, God created Microsoft. Like that's what it feels like. And then you realize, all right, now we're in a room and there's 4 people here, and all right, let's set up Xero, let's set up Stripe, let's think about like what's the app doing. Can we send like a high value contract? Do we need lawyers to, like, how do we even do that? All right, we have to sit down and write it. Can we write a contract? Do we get a lawyer to do it? Like all this really granular stuff. That's been really fascinating to me. Like the whole concept of all of this is made up. Like the whole everything around us, someone has made up at some point. And just the potential of it, I think, is really freeing. Like you can go onto LinkedIn and use Lusher and buy a business development manager's number who works at a really big company and just cold call and say, hi, this is what we're doing. Would you like a free trial? Like, I mean, it's all there. And it's all relatively made up, which I think was really surprising to me. I think the second thing that was really surprising to me and continues to be really surprising to me is just how important the small things are, and especially in networking too, what fascinates me is like the deals that have been done that have shifted in markets that have occurred because someone's met someone at like a bar, or someone knows someone who knows someone. Like you have to take every opportunity seriously. And that's, I think, what also keeps things really exciting. And I think the other thing that's been surprising to me is that it's really, really hard. Like it's so hard. It's like, as Elon Musk says, like it feels sometimes like, starting a company is eating glass and staring into the abyss. Like it's really hard. And I think like you get really excited in the honeymoon phase of we're doing the pitch deck and we're raising capital, and then it's like, all right, cool. This is now there's 6 people who sort of somewhat rely on this working now, and like they have to, the customers and tech and legal, and so I think just how it's given me a new level of appreciation for people that have done it. Not just unicorns, but small businesses that have been around for 20 years. Like it's not a small thing to be running your own business, be it like a bakery or a small accounting firm or like Jasper or Canva. Like it's all pretty exceptional to stay in the game for as long as a lot of the people that make up our market today have. So I guess that's my 3 things.
And is there anything in particular you would tell yourself on the first day, having now had so many days in the job?
Yeah, I think the 2 pieces we said earlier about invest in systems, because you don't rise to your goal, you fall to your systems. Like don't compromise health by staying up late, and like it's just like you have to take care of yourself because at the end of the day, I mean, like the things. You really only have your health, and it's easy to fall into the trap of like, oh, this is a massive sprint and we have to get this done for this deal, and there's always going to be that deal, and there's going to be more and more and more. So I think systems, and the second thing is just keep going. Like just don't get too caught up in perfection of, oh no, like this scope isn't right, and this enterprise agreement's not right, this feature doesn't look perfect. Like time kills deals, and especially in a space as competitive as AI, like the tomorrow is owned by the people that turn up. So just turn up and turn up first. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think that's pretty much it.
Well, thank you so much, Sam. I think those were some really, really good learnings on how you kind of came up with your idea. But then what did you learn out of it? It was really good to see your reflections, which I'm sure will be helpful for a lot of other startup founders who are maybe at a similar stage to you, who have just founded something or just launched something. But thank you so much for your participation. Any final comments from your side?
No, thanks for having me. It's always great to chat and sort of talk through these things. It's nice to take a second to kind of zoom out and meet people. So thanks for your time.
We've got a final question from Mr. Mavros.
No, sure. It's a final analogy.
Perfect.
You quoted one of the world's greatest philosophers, Mike Tyson, in everybody's got a plan until they get a punch in the face.
Yes, sir.
I will share with you one of my things that I've told many people in the time that I've been coaching and mentoring. Getting knocked down is only a problem if you can't get up by 10. So getting knocked down is not the issue. It's whether you can get up by 10 or not. So I thought I'd share that with you to add along with your other great philosopher, Mike Tyson. And I got to say, I love the fact that it was Mike Tyson that came up with that, because it really is a brilliant statement. It's true.
It's very true. And, with UFC 293 coming up in Sydney soon, like it's can draw a lot of parallels between startup and mixed martial arts and boxing, that's for sure. Awesome. Well, thanks very much for your time, guys. I really appreciate it.
This is an ultimate global podcast. Hello, and welcome to our special weekly podcast on trending international and social affairs. You're listening to Saurabh Kora and George Mavros from Sydney.